Hey Scorpios, welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot. I am working on your February reading. February is quite a month for you guys, Sages. I'm sorry, Scorpios. That was odd. Um, it's quite a month, maybe not even in the most obvious ways. So there's a lot going on in the month. There are also moments of reprieve and rest in between the somewhat tidal waves that we're moving through with this energy. Um, it's the same pace as January was. January had the eclipses. There was big moments of stress and a lot of fear that was elevated at that time, and we're still in that energy. It's easing a little bit, but then it's going to come back around when Mars enters Capricorn in the middle of the month. That's your third house. So this entire conjunction has been occurring in your third house, and that is a very psychological house. In general astrology, it could also be issues with siblings or issues with communication, issues in your neighborhood, your communities, issues with your car, even. But I see this as a way of, it's a transformation in how you think and how you strategize in your day-to-day life. And it's on that ninth house axis. So, the ninth house are your ultimate beliefs and your goals and how you're going to get to those. But the third house is the strategizing, it's the thought processes, it's the habits, it's the to-do lists. It's the very everyday routine stuff that becomes transformed through all of this. And so Capricorn area of your chart got hit a lot in January, but that conjunction energy is going to play out throughout all of 2020. And the energy is still going to stay extremely intense until the end of March. So, like I've told you and all the other signs, right now may not be the best time to expect real outward changes in our lives. The new jobs, the new loves to come in, the new opportunities. It's more of the work we're doing within right now, or it's a lot of things that are happening to us that are not in our control, because Pluto can do that as well. So it's outside things that we're having to clean up after or to deal with. And then it's causing a lot of internal changes within us. But we won't take action on much until April, May, June, July. Even the end of the year promises to be very active. So 2020 is sort of that roller coaster that goes on about 3 or 4 minutes too long. You get to a point where you can't take anymore. But there is a point in February, as there is throughout the year, where there are periods of rest, and that comes very clearly around the second week of February. It could be a somewhat nice salvageable Valentine's Day, or maybe the weekend before Valentine's Day is a nice time. But just expect these shakeups to continue to occur. Right now, in Aquarius season, we're talking to your fourth house of home. So this could talk to you a little bit about situations that are going on in your actual home, your domain, in your family, even issues with your mother. maybe bringing some things to light because the sun illuminates things, or this is your strength, Scorpio. You might actually find a little bit of safety in your homes throughout the month, a little bit more of an introverted time for you, or you could be hosting things at your home, inviting people to your home, being such a comfort zone for you. Also, actually, I believe it's February 8th or 9th, we are having a Leo full moon. This is a nice full moon because it actually doesn't aspect much of anything. So this moon is actually a new beginning that's kind of out there in a center of your chart where nothing else is going on. It's not forming strife with other planets, and it gets to kind of be itself, which is really awesome for Leo because Leo likes to be itself. The full moon in Leo, it likes to kind of be that center of attention, to stand out, to be recognized for your abilities. And the 10th house is your career, or your purpose or destiny in life. So as you're going through a little bit of this, I shouldn't even say a little bit, quite a bit of restructuring of your mental processes, you may be making new habits that are starting to really show, maybe at work or in your day-to-day life. You may be really making big strides towards those new goals that you have. So the Leo moon will be a nice reprieve as well. That weekend is going to be quite nice. And then we have Venus moving into Aries this month. That will occur around the 7th. Venus in Aries it's not her favorite placement. It can bring a lot of passion, but it could also bring a little bit of strife, a little bit of, when Venus is cranky, which she can be in Aries, she wants what she wants when she wants it. Now, this is in your 6th house. So be careful when you're being a little too pushy or aggressive in your daily routines. When you are finding yourself, screaming at the Uber driver because they showed up so late, or just getting really aggravated with the people that work for you, or maybe do service type things like a cleaning person, or a landscaper or something. Just watch out for your keep your patience and keep your cool this month with those people. You are also dealing with a retrograde Mercury, so there could be hang-ups, although that Mercury happens in your 5th house, which we're going to talk about next. But there could be confusion and delays in your day-to-day life, and a Venus in Aries could really get stuck in that mindset of the entire world revolves around me, and I don't know why other people don't realize how important my schedule is. And I'm not saying it's not, but we all feel that way, right? And the universe just doesn't work that way. And sometimes you just have to learn to go with the flow, and know that when there are some sort of delays, that there may be reasons for those delays that you shouldn't question. Moving into that retrograde in Mercury in your 5th house of love, romance, and children. This is actually not a bad retrograde Mercury at all. It's quite mellow compared to the next few that we're going to experience, and compared to the last couple that we've had. This is just your normal general retrograde Mercury. but it's in your fifth house and it's wrestling with Neptune, which you are already probably pretty sick of. And then at the end of the month, we're going to have a new moon in Pisces in your fifth house as well. So this could bring about new relationships, dating. It could be very well just starting to get out there and date. But it could create a sense of confusion, an area where you're insecure or you feel a little bit vulnerable. And you are vulnerable when Mercury meets up with Neptune. Sometimes you do meet people that have a mask or, just deceitful intentions. So keep your guard up, because Neptune can bring a level of illusion, but at the same time, also in Pisces, Mercury wants you to be open. It wants you to go with the flow. So don't give anybody your credit card or your social security number, but also be open to meeting new people, people that might be a little bit different than you, that might be and it could be people from your past. Mercury retrogrades in the fifth house can very often bring people from the past. And Neptune, instead of causing illusions, sometimes there is a breaking of those illusions. So you might be coming to terms with some past situations in your love life or a romantic situation, or even with a child, where you're going to be maybe discovering a little bit more truth behind it. It's a rediscovery. So stay open to that and pay attention. Now, a lot of this astrology goes really well with the cards that I have pulled for you. This was quite a reading. And I do want to say at the top that I was actually really careful. I don't always like to use reversals, and for the monthlies, sometimes I take reversals out, and that was my intention for February. I kind of felt like we have been through a lot in January and December, and so I wanted to go into February focusing a little bit more on the positive things. So I was very careful. I turned around all my reversals, and somehow you guys still got 4 reverse cards. I have no idea how this happened. I have no explanation for it, but when Spirit overrides my intentions, I make it a point to never question it. So it is what it is. If there's other signs that you're reading and you want to know why they don't have reversals, well, my intention was no reverse cards, but it didn't work out for you. Also telling me that this is a very important framework that they want you to understand when I go through this reading. And it is a bit of a heavier reading, so stay with me. Card representing you this month is an 8 of Swords. This is quite honestly an area of feeling very trapped. But if you look closely at the card, this woman is not trapped there at all. She's blindfolded. So she doesn't realize. All she needs to do is take the blindfold off to see that she could simply walk away. She's on rocky terrain, but she's not drowning. There's no tidal waves coming. It's drying out, so that tells me that you're coming to a emotional acceptance of a situation, but you still feel trapped in it. Why? Well, that's the Swords. So again, with the thought processes that you're working on, maybe running through scenarios over and over in your mind, this could represent feeling trapped by the past and not knowing how to get past it. And I say that because crossing you is the Five of Cups. This is also a very heavy and depressing energy. And so when I look at Mars, Jupiter, the South Node, Saturn, Pluto, Ceres, all linked up in that third house of the mind, I want to talk to you about depression and the power that it has over your mind. When you operate, and let's start by saying that, we're here to experience emotional situations. Not all of life is meant to be rainbows and Skittles, right? We're meant to learn things. We're meant to go through tragic experiences and grow from them. Nobody's saying they aren't tragic or that you should just get over them. But sometimes we let ourselves sink a little bit too deep into the energy of the sadness, the remorse, and the regret, which is represented by this Five of Cups. There's a lot of regret and remorse here. So if you allow yourself to stay at a lower frequency when dealing with things like mental depression, it really starts to take over your life, and then it starts to physically manifest. And it can physically manifest outwardly in your life by creating more situations which incur greater sadness. It's like one of those things where you could stub your toe in the morning and just decide right then and there that this is going to be the shittiest day ever. Or you could stub your toe in the morning, say 20 swear words, jump around for a minute, and just be like, all right, well, it's got to get better from here. There's two different ways of looking at things. It's not easy to come at it from that second place, and I could sit here and tell you all day long what to do, but I've had plenty of days where I've stubbed my toe and allowed it to ruin my vibration for the entire day. I am not telling you this is a simple task, but it is the task of training your mind. And you have a good opportunity to retrain your mindset and the way that you look at things as Mars goes through Capricorn. Also, Mars will hit your South Node. So it also can create a situation in which you decide to stay longer in the misery, in the entrapment of your mind. It really can go either way. And so you are faced with a decision where you need to either transform and change or stay in this place for the rest of your life and just simply be unhappy and unsatisfied. Which, moving on to your fears, I've got Neptune. So this talks to me about options. When I look at a card like this is you, and your fear is options, I find that a little curious. But then I also realize that you have Uranus moving through your 7th house. So, quite honestly, this could be a situation where you feel like you are trapped in a relationship or a binding contract, and you fear leaving it because you fear entering a phase of confusion, a phase of the unknown. Sometimes we grow really comfortable in our own misery, and it's better to stay here than to face all of these choices and have to make decisions. and have to create change, when we have to pick what we want to do next instead of just staying here. When I clarified the Seven of Cups, I was given 2 Leo cards. Maybe you're dealing with a Leo. But I think what this says to me is if you're afraid of all of the different options you have, the options to stay, the options to leave, just the unknown. But you're also afraid of taming that beast within you, that strength. So whenever the strength card comes up in a reading, and especially as a fear, I see it as allowing somebody to come in or allowing a situation to occur in your life that forces you to tame the beast within you. You see, this woman is actually petting a lion. She is not afraid of these primal animalistic instincts that are within this animal. So it's sort of like letting somebody break you or take away your power. Now, this could be yourself. This is about regaining your strength, quite honestly. It's about getting yourself back to a place where you no longer allow old habits to destroy good things in your life. And it's also a fear of victory. It's a fear of succeeding, of attention, of recognition for your hard work. It's almost a fear of something culminating and the result of the culmination of whatever you have going on. It's like being afraid to really step up in a situation. A fear that there are so many options that maybe you are afraid to settle down at this time in your life. Again, Uranus in your 7th house, that talks to me about needing freedom. Wherever Uranus is transiting in your chart, it is causing a need of revelation and freedom. So if you are stuck in a relationship and you don't know whether to break it off or move it to the next level, if you're dealing with a decision like that, I think, and this could be a job situation as well, ending one job and moving into another, or taking a promotion and getting yourself even further involved with this career situation. Either way, Uranus in your 7th house can bring a lot of breaking away from relationships or needing a sense of freedom in relationships. You know, this can often be seen as a couple that loves each other very much, but they just decide to live in separate places. There could be a separation. It's a very slow-moving transit, but Uranus can act quickly. So it could also bring you Neptune in your 5th house. It could bring you into certain situations where maybe you're in a really loving relationship, but somebody comes back from the past and they have you really questioning things. They have you rethinking what you've built this far, the work that you've put into this far, and maybe a little bit of nostalgia about your younger years or your freer days that could occur there. In your hopes, I got the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is not just a decision. The Two of Swords is a decision. It's a balanced decision. Because you see in this picture, there is the water, there is the emotions, the moon, it's the illumination of the truth, but it comes through intuition. And then the wands protecting her. So that is your ego aligned correctly, and the knowing. It is the decision and the knowing. Something from deep within you. So I think your hopes is that the decision is just going to come to you. And that's okay right now. That's actually not a bad way to look at it, is to sort of wait it out and to feel it out right now. February is very much about feeling our way out and letting things just sort of happen. Protect yourself and be smart, but don't jump into anything or make any unnecessary waves right now. It's much better to just sit back and allow things to unravel. To clarify that, I got the Four of Swords. The Four of Cups. And I'm seeing this a little bit differently as well when it comes out next to this card with intuition. It's a hope that you could see all of the opportunities, including things that aren't here right now. The Four of Cups is a card of dissatisfaction in a way. It's kind of the, well, I don't really like any of these options in front of me. And then you see there's a fourth option being handed to this person. It's a divine offer, but they just have to look at it. They have to see it as such. And sometimes we don't. And you see this man's eyes are open, but he's just not paying attention to it. This woman here is blindfolded and feeling her way through. So I think that along with your hopes, you're hoping that somebody is going to just tell you or give you the answer. Now, this could very well be a three-party situation that you're having to decide on a person. It could be the fact that you want to choose somebody that you could build with. That your choice will lead you to a partnership or a commitment in which you're building a future with. You're making the plans. It's something that's good for you. In your recent past, I have the Lovers. So this could talk to me a lot about, especially when it comes out next to this, that maybe there was a very divine or spiritual connection that you had in the past. Being clarified with the King of Cups. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden I just cannot. My throat gets so dry. The King of Cups, this is one of those that came out in reverse next to the Ace of Wands. So in the recent past, you may have had a beautiful relationship with someone in which you decided to stop investing emotionally. There could be situations in which there was emotional immaturity, a fear of the emotional intensity of that connection. And the Ace of Wands in reverse is the walking away from a great passion or a opportunity. So when you're feeling trapped and you're in a place of remorse, I think there is some sorrow to the fact that you walked away from a relationship or a situation or a job opportunity from the past. But in the future, in the near future, I think what you're going to receive within this situation, within this whole situation of not being able to decide, feeling trapped, feeling guilt and regret and remorse for what you released in the past. You got the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords. Pay attention, please, to all of this blue right here. Now we have a retrograde Mercury happening in your 5th house, the house of love and romance and creativity. It talks to me about going back and looking at this old relationship, this old situation, and getting clarity. The blue is communication. It is communication and clarity around your emotions, around your ability to receive as well as give those emotions, because the Queen of Cups has mastered that. Not only is she emotionally mature and evolved and very understanding, the Queen of Cups looks after her cup first, knowing that if her cup is ever empty, then she simply can't provide or protect for the people that she loves. And so she realizes that it is her emotional well-being that is a saving grace and something that she needs to protect. In order to be able to give, she also has to be able to receive that kind of love as well. There may have been blocks here where this kind of intense emotional relationship that you had, quite honestly, scared the shit out of you because you were not ready. You were not emotionally in a place where you could understand or process or even receive that kind of love from somebody. And that, along with the Queen of Swords, tells me that there will be an opportunity for you to communicate it. And if nothing more, she will bring you clarity in the situation. It will bring you closer to making a decision. Interesting thing about these cards is that they're back to back. So there may be a feeling like you have to choose between emotional fulfillment or what looks good, what looks safe, what makes sense on paper. There could be a choice between an air sign or a water sign of a emotional, mushy kind of love, or the kind of love where you two make great plans and goals for the future and you could build together. There could be a little bit of duality there if it's representing two separate people. If it's just representing you, then there's a bit of a sovereignty. You know, when you're in a battle, I don't know why I'm thinking about The Walking Dead right now, but when they would fight zombies, in, you know, if there was two of them, they would stand back to back and one would guide one side and the other. So it's like the truth protecting your heart, the mind protecting your heart, and your heart protecting your mind. They're protecting each other. So there's a real inner strength here where you're protected in all manners. And I think that that can happen if you come to terms with this situation and understand it for what it is. What is the advice from Spirit? Page of Swords. This is honesty. This is honesty, but it comes from a place of innocence. So it reminds me of like, kids say the darndest things, right? Like a child can't lie. They could walk up to somebody in the grocery store and say, why does your hair look so bad? And they're probably right. The person's hair looks bad. Should you say it? Maybe not. But is it truthful? Absolutely. It's absolutely truthful. And it's not gigantic, you know, it's not standing outside somebody's window and screaming, I'm in love with you, come marry me. This is kind of a, hey, do you want to meet for coffee? Can we talk about some stuff? This could also be reaching out and getting therapy, even. You know, talking to somebody about this. Again, this Page of Swords, it's truth and it's clarity within the mind. It is the beginning thoughts. And there's an innocence to this as well, as letting things have the ability to grow into something more. It is the starting small and being brave enough to keep taking the steps. Clarified by the Page of Wands. So again, we have this passion versus stability kind of feeling. Isn't that just beautiful? More communication here. More communication. So the Page of Wands is similar to this. It is that childlike innocence with it, but it's with passion. It's with the wanting. It's with the primal needs. And although Spirit wants you to speak your truth, tame the passion, okay? I think maybe, quite frankly, have the conversations, but don't do anything physical. Don't, I don't know why I want to say don't do anything you're going to further regret. This is just immature acts of, you know, childlike temper tantrums that I see. So don't approach the situation with emotional immaturity. You know, that's also kind of like the, you know, when kids fight and it's like, well, I'm telling mom on you, and then I'm telling mom on you for this, and I'm telling mom, you know, and just the temper tantrums and the stomping of the feet and acting like a child. And you can't do that. If you're going to reopen this situation, you have to take it, you have to deal with your truth and their truth and nothing but the truth. Okay, you kind of have to lay it again, that Mars in Capricorn in your third house of communication. Speak gently. Speak truthfully. Speak maturely. And allow the cycle to end. Allow this cycle for you to end, whether it be end the old and the new and what you're feeling trapped in. It is the ability to, and it may take all month, but to figure out what your personal truth is and put something to bed. Something has to go, because you can't take any more with the Ten of Swords. This is, you can no longer take another negative thought in your mind. You know you can't. Possible outcome, should you listen to that advice, is pretty amazing. First card up, Death. That's the allowing of the transformation. That's the allowing of your thoughts to grow and mature, learning the emotional balance within them, understanding the situation, making a decision, putting an end to the confusion and the suffering, and allowing the transformation of yourself. No longer holding on to the past. So whether you are rekindling a romance with this, I hate to say the term twin flame, I absolutely hate that term, but with this connection, even if you're rekindling it, you cannot hold on to the bad stuff. You know, you have to start new. Again, that's the page of Swords and the Page of Wands. There's a need to start fresh and new from the beginning and allow the old stuff to be transformed. You got the Nine of Pentacles. So in some ways, I see you, if you are in a third party situation, or if you've got to make a decision between two people, I think you're choosing you. I think the absolute outcome, once you get to the bottom of it, is that you will be just fine on your own, in your own strength, to take care of yourself. And that maybe from this place, not maybe, came out just like that. From this place, from getting into a place of absolute independence, the place where you're okay by yourself, you're not worried about the not having anyone, then the Wheel of Fortune begins to turn. And you attract someone who is also at this level. And that you could meet this vibration. And maybe even this person from the past is already operating at this vibration, and the reason you couldn't be with them is because you were not. I really don't see any indicators, and I like to keep these a little vague because it's energy, and quite frankly, half of you could go one way and half of you can go the other. That's not important. The outcome really is never important. The spiritual lesson that you're gaining from the situation is what means so, so much. It's the what you want to do with it. But you have to come from a place of complete and utter independence and happiness in yourself. You cannot go from a 6, 7, or 8 of cups, you know, the wish fulfillment. You can't get there. You can't get to a 10 of Pentacles, the absolute abundance and stability that you seek, until you reach the 9 of Pentacles, meaning you could provide it for yourself. You provide it for yourself, and then someone comes into your life and they also have 9 Pentacles, and together you could build and create a wonderful partnership. But anything less than this 9 of any Cups or Pentacles, anything less than that, those rifts will always continue to show up throughout your relationships where you have not achieved that sovereignty, and where they have not. You'll see that continue to come up and fester in your relationships until either you heal it within yourself, and sometimes that means walking away from a relationship because you're no longer on the same vibration as that person, or you both work on it together and heal each other. That's all very possible. But one way or the other, once you get to this state, the entire concept of love and relationships and partnerships changes for you. There's no longer fear around it. There's no longer waiting for the next shoe to drop, or waiting for the next bad person to come along that's going to sabotage you and break your heart. This is about the knowing that it's going to get better. It's just the knowing that it has to. Bottom of the deck, 4 of Wands. So that is stability, partnership, family, the white picket fence, everything that my Scorpios could dream of. Bottom of the deck, that is the intentions that the universe wants to get you to. If this isn't a third party, if this doesn't resonate, please check out your other signs. If this is resonating with you, I just want to take a moment to tell you that the most important, one of the most important aspects of your life is your mental health. Again, when your mental health is suffering, then your outside world begins to suffer. The people that you love dearly begin to suffer. They begin to miss you. They feel disconnected from you. And then you begin to manifest these things physically, in physical forms, in aches and pains, and even sometimes diseases. So if you're in a bad spot or in a rut, okay, let's get through it. Let's open the blinds, let the sun in, and do the things we need to do to get better. But if you are really struggling, if you are in a place where you are afraid, if you are in a place where you feel hopeless, then please reach out to someone and share with them what you are experiencing, and allow them to guide you and get you the help that you need. Because I'm looking here and I'm seeing this beautiful future for you. There's so much hope here, and it's just the need to get over and through this mental anguish and what's holding you back. And there is no shame in therapy. There is no shame in medication, in doing what you need to do to get to a happier place. Honestly, Scorpios, do not hold back from seeking the help at this time. Now, why am I taking this so seriously? Because you pulled these astrology cards. Mercury, your mind, and Saturn, truth. Now, we just talked about how you have to go about things in a very honest way. to really face these situations and to be honest with everybody involved. But when I see Saturn next to Mercury, I also know that Saturn is a very heavy energy. Saturn can increase your responsibilities and decrease your energy in ways that will drain you. And so there is a risk of depression when I see these cards together. And it may be something that you thought you could handle and is now slowly overcoming you. And so, Scorpio, I promise you, things will get better. You will see transformation. You will bring an end to these cycles. And you will find relief. And even if it just starts with one phone call, one doctor's appointment, just make that first phone call. Just get that ball rolling, because 2020 does have the ability to bring you a lot of beautiful things, but you have to do the work. You have to face the demons. And Scorpio, nobody does that better than you. No one is more capable of that transformation. That's what you're here to do. And don't sell yourself short. You are stronger than anyone else when it comes to this. Put yourself first and get your mind right. And let the good things pour in. I am going to pull an animal spirit card for you. Spirit, I ask you to show me the energy that Scorpio needs to harness throughout the month of February. The lizard. Makes sense. What's up for you guys while I read it? Instinctual, sensitive to the subtle, and the dreamer. The lizard is an expert in the realm of sensory perception. As if it has a sixth sense, the lizard hears what is yet to be spoken and sees what is yet to manifest. Although this is an amazing gift, it can easily wear the lizard down. Big crowds, lots of travel, or overstimulation will drain a lizard of their magical essence. This card is an indication to pull back from the bright lights and big city and return to the inner artist who's been whispering your name. When in balance, you are artistic, telepathic, and spiritual. When out of balance, you are elusive, non-committal, and flaky. To bring into balance, you need a creative project. Scorpios, I love you guys so much. I'll be talking to you very soon. I'll come out around mid-month with some special Valentine's readings for you guys. Love readings. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.